All right. Hello, Twitch chat. Welcome to True Shot Lodge podcast episode number 11. I am your host, Moofzy, and we're here with Proximity and special guest, Dossou from Limit.
Yes, yes.
Dossou is currently in grayscale because his camera broke. Preheat, we need a new camera. Send that to Dossou, please. Um, so happy Valentine's, everybody. We welcome back to True Shot Lodge podcast. We have been on a little bit of a break because obviously we raid in Ny'alotha. And so a lot of us have started clearing. Obviously, uh, Limit has cleared, so Dosu's done with Ny'alotha. Done with 8.3. How's it feel, Dosu? Be done with BFA.
BFA garbage, you're free.
It's surprising. I'm actually more motivated to play WoW right now than ever before. I'm doing alt stuff. I'm doing visions and doing dailies and world quests and stuff on all my characters. So
I actually like
it's
visions are good content. Like I actually like visions. I don't know.
it's
What do
it's
y'all?
nice to be done with the raid, but it's also nice to just
Funny how ditching the bridesmaid's dress and throwing on that beautiful white frock kind of gave you some motivation. Yeah, odd that. Kind of a logical cause and effect there.
yeah.
Um,
I don't know what that is, but it's I'm motivated to play now. So
I know. So Max tweeted that y'all have you're able to play alts, right? Like play whatever alt that you want. Are you sticking to Hunter? Are you betraying us, going to the purple class like Padre?
no, I'll be playing Hunter and Mage and Ret Paladin. I think are my three that I'm gonna play. I'm ditching
Yeah,
the
fuck
Druid and
Banger off.
ditching the DH and Priest as well, which I have at 120. But yeah, just the three farm.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, Daisy, that we were correct ahead of time, and Padre said he was too busy for the podcast, but he is currently memeing in chat right now.
Yeah, that's believable. That's
All right, so let's get into the actual podcast. So first of all, congrats on world first. How does it feel to get your first world first? Just I don't know, how does it feel personally, and then just how was the guild environment after the win and right now and stuff like that?
I was very satisfied. I've been in Limit since Legion, beginning of Legion, and it's very satisfying for me personally to finally get a world first. Been working on it a lot for at least since Old Year.
Because you were a TM Sean slave before that, weren't
Yes. Well, yeah, I think so. Yeah, a couple of us were.
you?
Um,
Before you unshackled and broke
yeah,
the
we were
chains.
unshackled when we went to Limit. But yeah, it's satisfying for me. Obviously, people like Max, who's been working extremely hard for the guild, is much more excited and screaming than me. But yeah, I'm very happy, and everyone's very happy.
Well, cool. Um, how was, I know you didn't physically attend the event, but how was this event compared to the previous event?
I think everyone had a great time. Everyone was talking about the food, how great the food was, and the accommodations, and the staff at the GameStop gaming center or whatever it is. Everyone
Right, right.
was great there, and everyone was very happy with complexity, and seems good.
So you're gonna try and go to the next one?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try and go to the next one. Hopefully, if everything works out. I don't know when it's gonna be. Probably sometime in the winter. So it'll be nice to get out of Canada. That's
Right.
Get you
minus
all the
40.
way outside. Like not just it's gonna like you're gonna have to go outside into a place with a lot of other people who are
Yeah, that's
also
fine.
outside, and it's been a
That's
prolonged
fine.
outside period of time.
Uh, Dosu, they're saying they can't really hear you. Can you turn your mic up anyway?
I can. You might have to turn me up yourself.
Yeah, if you do it from your end.
Let me see. All right, the camera's gonna mess up real quick. Uh, all right.
Apparently, everyone in Limit has me at 200%.
All right, was that better?
Testing, testing. Can everybody hear me?
I turned him up on my end.
They might be confused. It sounds like an American but polite. That's just kind of
You normally have him muted? Nice, dude. Willie being toxic already. Dude, what? Why would you mute Dosu? Dosu's a nice, wholesome boy. He
the
laughs.
avatar of depression.
All right. So, I mean, aside from a couple people on the new roster, did Limit do anything different this time, like in preparation?
Well, the obvious one was having Max in a coaching role instead of being in the raid, which I think was an insanely good benefit to the overall progress that we made.
Right.
I think having
Um,
having him in a role where he can focus on things other than playing his character and focus on the health of the raid and cooldown and stuff like that is just it's so much better than having someone in the raid if they're not someone who's extremely good at doing both.
multitasking. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, like
I
he
mean
didn't
Max
have
is a
to.
he's a good raid leader and he's a good player, but I think he's just a better raid leader when he's not in the raid. I assume most people like that.
Yeah.
I think it was a very beneficial for us to have him in that role.
Yeah.
One
So
of
do
the
you?
things I noticed a bit different was the kind of calls and decisions that he makes when he's a tank versus when he's watching a ranged DPS and you can see more. I felt like we're slightly different, and perhaps a
Mm-hmm.
more beneficial perspective. And I wonder if even if he'd happened to shadow, I know Darkest Camera or someone else like that, one of the other tanks, I wonder how much of a different effect that would have played adversely on the raid.
Well, he did have access to. He wanted. I think he had two range POVs, and he was trying on farm different, seeing what was best for him, watching Darky or watching somebody else. Um, and I think he decided that watching range is just obviously going to be
Yeah,
the
and the
best.
good thing
Best
about
thing
Yeah.
to
watching
do.
a mage's POV is you never have to watch them deal with any fucking mechanics ever because Blink just plays up and negates the entire fucking game.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
I think
mean, uh,
someone who used to rate with us, tags, mentioned that watching a mage POV just made him realize how amazingly OP Shimmer is.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's actually
It's so good, especially for N'alotha. It was really, 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 really
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the point of views, like melee, like on fights like Il'gynoth, right? They're going to be up in the butthole or like, in the little like crevice of the organ, right? You're not going to be able to see half the stuff. And so obviously the range point of view is going to be a lot better for a lot of fights like that.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, so
Papa
so as a
Ion forgot to put Blink on the GCD, like every other
man,
fun button in the game to press. So if he could just grab his hog and fix that up, that'll be great.
man, let's yeah, we'll talk about GCDs later. But yeah. Um, so I mean, my next question was about Max being that 21st man. So you really liked it, being a
Yeah,
player,
I liked it a lot. I don't know. I think everybody kind of feels the same way. I think everyone realizes that that's kind of going to be the future. Maybe it won't be Max, but maybe it'll be, you know,
right?
Padra or Luke. Maybe if he comes back, tags. But
Oh,
it's
so you're benching Padre? Is that what you're saying?
well, he did the same thing on Ashara, right? Like he was the eagle on Ashara, so that was kind of our first experience with someone in that role calling stuff out.
Right. Um, do you think that, like, I mean, I was sort of memeing about it, but do you think that limit method, like a lot of the top guilds will like, quote, hire somebody to do that, like an outside person? Because obviously it feels bad having to convert a raider who obviously wants to play the game and progress, right? It feels bad converting them to a raid lead position.
Well, I think it may be the environment of that sort of thing is a little different in limit and method because I mean we have a very large roster. We have 31 or 32 people,
Right.
so not everybody's going to get a raid all the time, anyways. So I think for the person in that role, I think for Max, it basically is raiding. Like you're not playing the game, but you are contributing to the success of the guild.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what people want in limit at least. I don't know about method, but at
Right.
least in
Right.
limit, people just kind of they're part of the team, no matter how many bosses they kill. You know, they're
Yeah.
I was
compensated the same.
surprised to see like there were a fair few voices of dissent around it. I couldn't tell how much of it was just like your usual Twitch chat memory and how much of it was legitimate. But like I have absolutely no issue with it, and I don't really understand the viewpoint of people that do. Like I normally try to be somewhat empathetic and understand other people's point of views, but I think they're just like pants on head fucking retarded for having an issue with that.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah.
I don't think anybody really has an issue with sitting. in limit. I mean, maybe there's people that are frustrated when they have to sit, or they want to. I mean, everyone obviously wants to be in all the time, but it's just not a reality. So everyone is kind of used to it.
Right, but I mean, I feel like, I mean, did Max ever express that I mean, I guess he was helping the guild, right? But did he ever want to be in on any of the bosses?
Yeah, he came in for Vexiona, but I think that's
Oh, you're
because
right.
Robin was sick. I think so.
Right.
Robin was sick.
Um, but yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting going forward. I think a lot of the top guilds will definitely start doing. I mean, guilds have done it in the past, right? But I think this is the first time that Max has actually sat out essentially the entire tier, right? It's
Yeah,
usually been like a couple fights here and there, but
yeah, no, that's.
um,
I mean, that's just he just wants the guild to succeed. That's what Cam said in the chat. Max just wants Limit to succeed, and if the best way to do that is for him to not raid and
I mean, one of the
coaches.
most important parts of that is it lets you get one more method person in the raid, so that 5 method people can share. So
Yeah, yeah.
just
Big,
got to get the
big,
other
big
15
congrats to
people.
the
yeah,
method guys.
yeah, Gratz method. All right. Here's a serious question, Dosu.
Yep,
You need to be
I'm
honest.
ready.
Don't let your limit guildies in chat sway you. All right. Who is the MVP from limit this tier?
Nobody actually on our roster. I think the MVP was definitely Mystical OS, who's the DPM dev, and Relo, who made Recores for us. So those
Ah,
two were instrumental for our success, I
you
think.
took a neutral stance to this question. I like it. All right. All right.
No,
Also, I
that's
was the MVP of N'Zoth because I top boss damage. So
Oh,
who
ooh,
who
man.
yeah.
whose performance on N'Zoth was most akin to watching Lorgok try to do those fucking puzzles in Nezhut?
Well, we had a couple mages had Lorgot combust. They were talking about it downstairs, where they press Lucid before their rune, or they, press bracers when they already have 3 fire blast. Stuff like that happens all the time. So yeah, Mr. Zandalari, he showed his face a few times in our raid on Azoth, and we lost.
Listen, I thought honestly, I thought the MVP was I'm gingied up. He was the best of both
Yeah,
worlds, a
yep.
limit and method. So
No, something's wrong with that guy's character. I think like his gear it was just illegal. Like the ring he has is a double socket percent mastery corrupted ring. It's one of a
Fuck
kind.
off.
It needs to
Fuck off.
it needs to go in a museum. I think it needs to be
all right, see now that
never
you've said
deleted
this
and restored.
publicly, he's gonna get mad at you if Ion takes it away.
I don't think. Well, I mean, they're not taking away double socket stuff. It just happened to have an insane corruption on it too. So yeah, he's fired up. He's a good guy. He's a bit weird, and I want to
Ma-
fight him, but good guy.
Max was watching his point of view most of the time, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right. So enough about the race world first. Let's talk about Ny'alotha as a whole. So aside from limit, what was your personal prep like for the raid?
Well, obviously I did a lot of islands.
Fucking loser.
Did you
What?
count how many islands?
Enough to get 80 on Sunday night. Well, I guess it wasn't 80, but I was basically done with islands by Sunday night of the first week.
Man,
It's
I
like the usual
remember.
79.6 or whatever it
Yeah,
was.
something like that.
Yeah.
The trick of that is you have to get clicked up early. So I had a nice island click with preheat and Shakib, and we just ran every day for
Oh,
15,
Prehe
15
says
hours.
1,200 islands.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. We're working on
Man.
we had the nice limit island tool Weekora that we definitely made ourselves for sure from scratch.
I think you mean the complexity limit island tour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I won't abbreviate that.
Officially making you the click commander.
Yeah, no, I actually like islands. I don't mind islands at all. I think they're nice, relaxing content. I don't want to do them all the time, but doing
It's not.
1,200 at once is not that miserable for me.
I think it's not the island that you enjoy though. It's the I can completely turn my brain off and just
Yeah.
talk to some fucking lads. Islands when you're not in Discord, just fucking talking shit with your mates is absolute cancer. Like I would rather just stuff honeybees up my fucking urethra with a splinter chopstick than do them. But as soon as you like bring in the boys and like it doesn't matter. You're just on autopilot, complete muscle memory. It doesn't fucking matter. None of it
Yeah.
matters. It's so easy that yeah, you can just do whatever.
Yeah. Except when you pull howlers, then it's annoying, right?
Well, my trick was I used a PvP trinket the whole time, an heirloom PvP trinket for all islands.
Man.
I think Shaq had about 1,000 of the Draenic invulnerability or stun removal pots or whatever if you're removing
Uh,
pots. So he
big
had a
brain.
couple of those out.
Man, good old
Um,
Shaq.
but yeah,
Our our
sorry,
tank
go ahead.
just complained the entire time. Every time that happened, it was just like, "Oh, great! This island's going to be 2.5 minutes of complaining." Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but I mean, I had to level engineering on a couple alts to get the helm to trade for heroic splits. So that was a big gold sink. Uh,
Yeah,
outside of WoW, I didn't really do much. Just made sure I had all my daily tasks done, and so I didn't have to worry about anything during progression. I bought meals that I could just eat, you know,
yeah,
lasagnas and stuff like that.
yeah.
And you didn't have to worry about getting, you know, uh, Alden McCord rep because they didn't buff that and give away all that free DPS
Man,
until after you guys
how's
killed
that
it.
feel?
They just
Yeah,
drop
the
everyone
day
else up
after,
with the
the day
fucking,
after
Well,
y'all killed it.
here's your welfare.
I don't.
You,
I think.
sir.
I think
You,
there's
sir.
there was like 3 people in guild who had it, and they were all people that we're gonna do it anyways. THD and Sang, those kind of people.
Yeah,
But Sang told us that we could only get exalted by like the end of week 5 or the beginning of week 5 or something. I think we killed the boss week 3, so we
I
just
think you can
we
call
ended up
cute
skipping.
those
I
kind of
skipped.
people bosses 2020.
Yeah, I skipped dailies for the entire island week, and I didn't get revered until after we killed the boss, anyways. So,
yeah. I mean, you don't have time if you're basically waking up, raiding, and going to sleep, waking up,
yeah, and
raiding. You know,
we didn't need the DPS. We overkilled the fuck out of the boss. I think
right?
we had one person dead for like a minute at the end, and we still were like 10 seconds ahead of the enrage at
Yeah,
least. Something interesting actually that we learned about that fight was the enrage is not actually the enrage. The enrage is the evoke cast after the boss enrages.
Yeah.
So I think
Oh.
Method,
Yeah,
what they did on their kill is they just stack with the last paranoia, and then once you stack, you go insane, and you have 20 seconds to kill the boss. But we sort of drew it out a little bit. We did the paranoia properly, did the beams properly, dropped evoke in the back of the room, and then ran into melee, and then got MC'd from the Thought Harvester's casting, and that gave
yeah.
us maybe an extra 10, 15 seconds kill the
Yeah,
boss.
yeah. It makes sense.
I think we're going to need those 10, 15 seconds. Our DPS has been so fucking dog shit this tier.
I think with breath rank 3, it's probably not needed anymore.
Yeah,
but
it
especially with an
makes.
extra reset.
Yeah,
Okay.
Breath rank 3 makes a lot of bosses like Vexiona stuff like that, or Ratheon, all those execute bosses a lot easier in terms of DPS.
That combo at the end is also a little difficult to deal with because you have paranoia at the same time that Thought Harvester are casting, and you need to immune, which I think will probably get changed, but who knows?
Yeah.
So
Um,
that's an interesting sidetrack. What because obviously some will come in a little bit. What do you think the next changes, or the big change to
like
nerfs
the
off
big
will
nerf.
be? Just another health nerf, or do you think there are
I
some
think
things like that?
I think they're going to nerf the amount of sanity or the
Yeah.
amount of damage, or both, that the Thought Harvester cast does. So you don't have to bring 10 immunities to the
Yeah.
fight. I think they're going to make it drain almost no sanity, and then a big damage curve as well. Because the sanity is not like the main issue. The damage that you take from it is the main issue. The
Yeah,
only one we ever soaked was double darkness barrier, I think. So
the immunity thing really is throwing back reminders of Argus and
Yeah.
chains.
Yeah.
it's at least it's consistent, right? It's not like a random thing. If you immune you don't have to do that much damage. Take that
Well,
much
didn't
damage.
they attempt to fix it like halfway through? Like, cause what was that fix where the harvesters like no longer stood in place, like they moved with the tank, or didn't
Oh
that
yeah,
prevent
okay.
immunities or
So
something?
what
Move
happened
podcast.
was the issue we were having most of the time is that the harvesters would spawn on players or gateways or shaman totems or pets. They would just spawn based on any enemy object in the room, and then they would cast instantly. So sometimes we would gate out of evoke, and a thought harvester would spawn in the evoke pools on a gateway or a pet or something or a totem, and it would cast instantly. So the
God, I
casts
love
wouldn't
this
be
game.
stacked. So the
Great
fix that
game.
Blizzard did for that was make the Thought Harvesters move and cast at the same time, which made it impossible to immune because your tank had to get out as well.
Right. And you would just
So
kill your
you had
tank.
to have a brewmaster like pour it out, I guess, was kind of the only way to do it,
Yeah.
potentially. but it was still a little bit sketchy. So
Right.
they
Yeah.
reverted that, and then now Thought Harvesters just spawn on top of tanks, which is a good fix, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. But there, how many attempts did y'all have with the quote fix where it spawned while moving?
Not very many. I think they fixed it sort of after dinner. We came back from dinner and they were doing that, and we just said, "All right, what the fuck is this?" And just, I think we might have gone and done a split or something, but
Right.
it was a little bit of a questionable change. I think we gave them a little feedback on how we thought that they could work, potential fixes, and they did the one thing that we said would be bad.
Right.
But I'm glad it's fixed now. So
So
That sounds like the Blizzard I know and love.
yeah, so I heard you like bugs on your final bosses. How many did you have to deal with? Four? Three? Right?
there was a lot. The most frustrating one for me was the gateway spawning at 25% after we decided not to go down for the first
I
time.
think that was
So we
everyone's
pushed the
frustration.
boss, killed the third harvesters, and then just stayed up. And the boss just cast damage that was easy to heal through. Got the boss to 25%. He shielded and spawned another portal, which we thought was okay. Well, we know now if we hit the boss at 25%, it's going to spawn a portal. So we started pulling the boss regularly, went in, and then we got the boss 25%, and it did spawn a portal, but you couldn't click it for some reason.
Tinfoil hat time. Do you believe Ion's explanation about that being a failsafe to make sure you can't DPS that whole phase, or do you think there was something and it was chopped out?
No, I believe Ion on that. I think there is something on the fight that was probably chopped out, but that was definitely not it. That was indeed a failsafe.
Yeah, we've caught him in so many lies that I inherently distrust every fucking thing he says now.
No,
he could be like,
I
the grass is green and the sky is blue,
Yeah.
and I'd be like, that motherfucker.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense as a failsafe, and the failsafe was just triggering even if you had already done.
Yeah, because the logic behind it made sense. It's like I have no reason to doubt it other than the fact of everything he's ever said over the history of time.
No, but no, Ion he's very good at lawyer speak. He I think Siori emailed him about something about the Echoing Void nerf needing to not go in until the end of the week, and
Yeah.
his response was, "I agree with you. The boss does not need a buff," is what he said.
What?
instead of the boss needs a nerf or something like that, he said the boss does not need a buff.
Man. So what did you think about N'Zoth as an end boss? I mean, I've heard a lot of opinions, but
I think he was fairly disappointing, to be honest. I wasn't a big fan of Azorth personally. It's just two phases, and phase one is super boring. I think the Psychus phase is just not great.
I think that's sort of the unanimous. I mean, if you look at past bosses or past end bosses or past bosses where we've had secret phases, like Argus or Imperator or all these bosses that had secret phases, like they were way cooler, and literally all you do is go to the Chamber of Hearts and fight a world quest mob for
though? This has absolutely been the theme of BFA.
Right.
Why is this first phase here? Gahund, that first fucking phase with the ads was just such a fucking meme joke. Like immediately after like 5 pulls, you're like, well, why is this fucking here? Yeah. And you went to Jaina, and that first fucking boat phase was just a totally different fight and stupidly easy. Like at least it was slightly more relevant. It's probably the least egregious of the ones on this list.
Yeah.
And then fucking we've got this now with Zoth, and there's another one I'm forgetting that was just fucking stupid. Well, I guess Unat didn't have anything like that, but yeah, it's just been like a massive reoccurring theme of here is this fucking point. Oh, Ashara, that's the one I'm forgetting. Yeah, why does phase 1 Ashara
that was really bad?
But it's just like such a reoccurring theme for this expansion.
Yeah.
We want to fuck the people off that are pulling this, 300 times by having the stupidest phase 1 you've ever fucking imagined. Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. N'Zoth, I think, was fairly disappointing overall. There were some good parts of it. I think the phase 2 would be good. Like learning all the timings and stuff was enjoyable, and it felt, once we figured it out, it felt quite smooth and nice. But yeah,
Yeah,
just the fact that there was nothing else after that is kind of silly.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it at the moment, but that's because we're not running deep into that last phase of, oh hey, this is kind of all there is, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
You know, we're still at the point where we're only just getting done with the second cycus and restabilizing after that. I think after I've done that a whole bunch, my opinion will change.
Yeah. So that being said, what was your favorite boss of the raid?
I think Carapace was probably my favorite
Carapace?
boss.
Okay.
Outside of the pet issues, obvious pet issues in
God,
that
dude,
fight,
the pet issues suck,
I
man.
think Carapace was a pretty nice boss, and we actually killed that boss in I think 30 something pulls, so we were
Yeah.
quite quick on it, and we had a good strat that I think most guilds are still using with the gateway and the sky step, and
Right.
Yeah, we definitely just lifted that like fucking frame by frame.
yeah, we I think we played very very well on that boss, and it was a decent boss. Phase 1 is a bit boring. I thought it would be a little harder, but
Yeah.
phase
Yeah.
2 was okay, and then phase 3 was probably I think maybe just phase 3 Carapace was my favorite boss of the raid.
Yeah, I feel like if phase 1, literally, if it was just the health values were buffed or the damage check was more relevant, and then phase 2 doesn't fucking happen at all, and then you go straight into phase 3, that fight becomes a really cool fight. But
Yeah.
that whole fucking here's memories of Goon as a goodbye to the expansion. Fuck whoever put that in. Like, actually, fuck them with a fucking garden raid.
I hate killing stuff on the ground that makes you slow. I think it's like probably the worst mechanic they've ever added to this game.
Yeah.
The worst. It's just
Um,
so dumb.
I was
Could
gonna
they find
say,
a fucking lump?
speaking of lumps, I was sort of disappointed because on the PTR, Carapace had the tentacles you had to walk up, and
Oh yeah,
so
you could walk up them on PTR. You couldn't do it on. They never tested the boss on Mythic on PTR, but on Heroic you could walk up the
yeah,
tentacles.
and
Use
I
them.
thought that was a really cool mechanic. I mean, it sucked for pets because pets, were fucked on that with the tentacles and stuff. But I thought it was a really cool mechanic that you could literally just walk up the tentacle, and obviously they took that out.
I'm a big fan of when the tentacle lands on your pet and he can't get out either side, and you're just like, guess I'll have no pet now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some serious issues with Hunter on that fight, but most of them were fixable by just kill commanding the things on the ground in phase 2.
Right.
Yeah, the reason it doesn't
getting
matter
it
too
to-
much is because you
I mean,
gang
phase one
fuck the
doesn't
boss
matter
in that
really,
last
right?
phase, and
Yeah.
that's the relevant part. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're like, even though you're going to be a fucking bot in that second phase, and you'll do good prio damage in the first phase, but it's a
Right.
meme anyway. You'll gang fuck the boss
Yeah.
in the last phase, and that's okay.
I was a little disappointed in how, I mean, Carapace was the penultimate boss, right? Like I feel like it should have been 100-ish pull boss, and obviously it was only like 30 to
Yeah, it was
40
way
for
too
most
easy.
people, right? So I
Yeah,
was a little,
it's quick if you have a strat. I think a strategy is a pretty big part of that boss, and with everyone having easy access to strategies, I'm not claiming that our strategy was perfect or amazing or the best or anything, but I think that without being able to copy what people have done, it's a little bit harder.
yeah,
But
yeah, for sure. All right, what was your least favorite
Dressagath,
boss?
not close, not even close.
Dressagath.
Dressagath
You
is
didn't like the
probably
tentacle
my
boy?
least favorite boss ever.
Man, you
ever
don't like
created.
tentacles very much, huh? You don't like the hentai? You don't like
Just
Dressagath? Don't like
for,
N'Zoth?
for a man who lives in his basement and watches exclusively hentai, you sure do have an aversion to tentacles.
Yeah, that boss, I think FT was in, but I wasn't in, and I am glad I wasn't in because that boss drops no loot, and it's actually just so bad in my opinion. I think the design of that boss and running around in circles collecting pools and guessing the boss is just any boss where there's times of the fight where you're standing there and you can't do anything. I think it's just
Yeah.
I'd be a lot more okay with that boss if it wasn't for those fucking smoke circles.
Man, I
You're just
hate
standing there
those. Have to
yeah.
pet
doing
follow
your
your
best
pet
Chinglish-
into the.
doing your
It's
best
so
Chinglish
bad.
impression. Fucking
It's
hell.
Blizzard's way to sneak melee into that boss. I think.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
not,
you would
not a
just
fan
bring
of
all
that one.
multi-daughters, right? If you didn't have that.
Yeah, not a fan of that one.
Yeah. All right, so we talked about Ny'alotha in general, so let's go into specifics. So Hunter and Ny'alotha. So in general, what's your opinion on a Hunter this tier?
I think they're fairly good. I don't think they're as good as like Fire Mage and Demon Hunter and Arms Warrior, but I think Hunters are fairly strong.
Yeah.
The main issue is you can't really hit two spread targets, but there's not really much of
Right.
that.
I think.
Yeah, that was the big thing. It was like our niche weakness was almost non-existent in this tier.
Right.
And even fights that aren't strictly single target were usually single target in terms of how priority that was. Like there was a lot of priority dam in this tier, and that's the one thing we do lots of, but that's something we do incredibly well. So.
Yeah,
Right.
Hunter definitely fucks single target like bosses like Shadhar and even Carapace and Last Phase and Ny'alotha as well.
Yeah.
You're usually going to be close to the top on boss damage, and that's sort of where
The first
is.
half of this instance, you just fucking murk the entire
Oh,
rest of
yeah.
the raid, and they sit there bitching about how
Yeah.
broken it is. And then you get to the second half of the raid, and you go, and here is Fire Mage.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the last couple of the bosses are definitely Fire Mage, but yeah, the first half is all, just straight Hunter.
Yeah,
Um,
Hunters are fairly strong on single target. That's like the big strength is anything single target. Hunters are good.
yeah.
I think Il'gynoth is probably the worst Hunter boss.
Yeah.
Their damage is good on Il'gynoth, but obviously there's issues with surviving and being spread from healers, and
It's not
that's
the worst,
So
but
I
it's
think it depends on placement heavily. Like so,
yeah.
Il'gynoth for me, the most important thing is choosing what I'm going to watch on Netflix while we do it. And I literally, I
Well,
take
but you're
my hand,
doing the
I
no
take my
dispel
hand
strat, right?
off the fucking almost everyone is. You
Yeah.
take your hand off the mouse, and you legitimately. I'm on the side of the room where I can't really touch bloods until the last phase either. So.
Yeah.
It's actually just your single target rotation on the boss. I never have to fucking move from anything. If there's a purple beam on you, you just fucking turtle so that there's no mess or anything. And you legit just AFK your brain completely. It's the most boring fight I have ever done in the
It's
history
so
of game.
boring.
And that includes that absolute abortion of an existence that's fucking vanilla and classic. Like it is so bad and so dull. And then for the last two organs, I don't even have to move. And then the one thing with the movement where people are like, oh, I got to move in here and move out and watch their collapsing. No, you just find someone who's pulsing at the opposite to you. You
Right.
stand on top of them and cleave each other on purpose, and it doesn't fucking matter. And then you take your hand back off the mouse and you sit there with one hand to do your rotation.
Yeah, I think well we dispelled. We were thinking about 5 healing with the dispel strat, but what we ended up doing was just 4 healing and buying BOEs that had haste as avoidance on them.
Yeah.
And handing those out to the mages and healers and a few people who were.
Yeah, I'm beginning to understand why you guys are $250 million gold.
Yeah, I think that those items helped a lot. We could try to keep it a little secret because we were ahead of
Yeah.
the
No,
time, but
those
I think
items are actually huge because
it's
any
almost an avoidance cap.
any haste class that has the stacks relatively close to haste, it's like 15 to 16% avoidance,
Yeah.
which is
And I don't think Hunters
big.
are necessarily bad on Il'gynoth. I just think there are classes that are gonna be better.
That are better. Yeah.
Boomkins probably and stuff like that.
It really depends
for
if you're
anyone where the damage check is relevant, then who can shit out the most single target damage is quite an important thing, and
Yeah.
and we're very good at that. Like for us, the combined Il'gynoth and organ damage, like I'm always top, except for our kill where I had 5,000 MS, and 20 seconds after we killed it, I'm like, did we kill it? I'm still attacking the boss on my screen.
Yeah, no, I mean Hunter's is very good at single target. Like obviously if you're having issues with bloods, then Hunter's not like amazing for it. I mean you can run what's the lethal strikes major called? Reaping Flames major to help kill bloods, but I feel like I mean obviously like warlocks and priests and stuff are way better at.
Destro is
Yeah.
Unless it's desperate, you're far better to just like gang fuck the boss targets and let
Yeah,
the
for
people
sure.
who can damage them in something else.
Yeah. So we sort of touched on this, but I just sort of wanted to walk through each of the bosses and just sort of talk about, you know, what to do as a hunter. I mean, obviously some of them are just tank and spank, so to speak. And we could sort of just talk about like, whether hunter's decent on that fight, whether they suck, whatever. So Ratheon obviously doesn't really matter very much. Single target. Super
There are a
easy.
couple of things for Ratheon, right? In that, because there's so little damage taken, don't run your Spirit Beast, run a Cunning Pet, in particular a Silithid, and
Yeah.
then watch for that dumb, slow fuck who's run the wrong direction and has high debuffs and is just going to die, and hover over him and look at your ability to save him,
Yeah,
and then don't
don't
risk
save him. Why would you?
fuck.
What? Yeah.
But the point is, you could have saved and now it's your choice. You get to choose
Yeah.
who lives or dies when it comes to the dumb fuck.
Yeah. See, now you have two snare breaks, right? You got disengage and the what's it called?
Master
Yeah,
Skull.
so
Master Skull. Yeah.
definitely run post haste and Master's Call on that. Use post haste for yourself and Master's
Yeah.
Call to save some dumb fuck.
Yeah. I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, obviously.
Vision Minor as well on that boss for sure, or Vision Major.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to delay your second cooldown for ages because it lines
Right.
up with him fucking off. And
Yeah, that fight I think has a little bit too much downtime. That's another one of my not so favorite fights. Obviously, it's the first boss, so it's incredibly easy. But I think that after he flies away for the second time, they give you a little bit too much time to get in those circles and start kiting stuff. Because I was standing there for like 10 seconds before they debuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably cut like 7 or 8 seconds off the time you have to get in those and run around. But
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, Vision Minor, that's about it.
All right. Skitra, the most fun boss ever.
Yeah, anything you do in that boss doesn't really matter.
Man, I remember
You want.
on PTR, I thought because it was like super overtuned on PTR, I was like, man, this is gonna be a fun boss. And then we get to live and we like one shot it on heroic and mythic, and we're like, all right, this boss is stupid. Like what the?
Yeah, I mean, it had 400 and something million health on PTR on Mythic,
Yeah.
and it had like 180 on retail or less. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like.
the only slightly interesting thing about that fight is the walls, and you just don't get them because they
Yeah,
the wall,
you
like,
just
every
push
single
so
time, just
fast.
people by defeat.
I think it takes like 15 seconds in that, in that 20% health window for them to even start spawning, right? And half the time you just push her quicker than, you push that 20% faster than 15 or 20 seconds or whatever it is. And so,
I don't think it's happening anymore either, but the first 2 weeks, your pets just ran to the real target. So as
yeah.
soon as you disappeared, you just watched what direction your pets went. You went, it's that one, and you're like listening to the tanks call, and you're like, yeah, fucking idiots. Just attacking the right one and finally call it out. You're like,
No,
yeah,
they
good work, guys.
they definitely fixed that, but it was
doesn't
very
fucking
memey the
matter.
first.
Such a
Yeah.
relevant fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's not really much to say. I mean, I guess you can use Binding Shot, Freezing Trap, maybe even Tar Trap on the walls.
Yeah, well,
But
people deal with that, to be honest.
yeah, I mean, you have like,
Ma-
Banish, Mass Root, Mass Entangle, like stuff like that. That's
Mass
a lot
Entangle
better.
is the biggest, easiest
Yeah.
way for your group to deal with it if you're still getting that. But otherwise, again, run a Silithid in case you have to run back and forth across the room. There's no damage taken. You don't need a Spirit Beast, and that's pretty much it. Oh,
Yeah.
and just I guess the other thing is if you can ever see the Psyche ad or whatever the fuck it's called, attack it because the other half of the group can't. So you don't ignore it. You have to prio damn it.
Right.
Yeah.
Not that it kind of really matters if you don't, because nothing does any damage in the shit fight. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Mount. Mount's a fun one. Pretty easy.
Don't run Infinite Stars.
Yeah. Twilight
Man.
Devastation
10
Infinite
stacks.
Stars are definitely banned on that fight.
Yeah. Man, our
I
Demon
10
Hunter
stacks,
ran
triple
it.
proc and 1 GCD, and just like here's a million damage. I guess I'll die in the end.
Yeah, Mount. I mean, it's
nothing for mod other than if you have duck and cover, fade on cooldown during that phase.
Yeah.
Try not to kill yourself. Basically, if you die, you can just blame healers. That's what I do.
Do
Yeah.
you guys? I do an outgrip. Do you guys catch the balls? Or do you
Nope.
just stand in
Our
and-
tanks do
and
that.
fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, you do it as a hunter?
I raid with Honestly's tanks, so our tanks are gonna be fucking waking the boss like you fucking know.
Man.
Yeah, so I do it on Hunter, and we stick a Hunter on each side, and we just jump out and grab them and come back in, and can make it big spook because I'm generally the highest damage taken from obsidian skin. So there are a few times where I get a little spicy low, but
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
that's
that fight's a little scary as Hunter, especially. I think most people 5 healed that, and we just 4 healed it, and we 4 heal
yeah.
everything this tier. I think we had one of our paladins, Durinius, have school stuff happen this raid, so we didn't even have a 5th healer option really at all. It was
Ooh.
someone's twisted, it's like alt priest or something off spec, so we just stuck with 4 for everything.
Yeah,
yeah, the one thing that can help a little bit is once it's a joke boss for you, you never have any problems with the obsidian skin, etc. Then if you run vision miner, your second aspect comes up before you get to that shield absorb phase, which means you're
yeah,
not gang fucking yourself so much during the absorb.
yeah,
And you can still do okay, but you will actually get a third one at the end of that. So you because it comes up so quick if you've got the skittra bow,
yeah,
you're not avoiding cooldowns in it altogether, but at least it's at the end and not quite so
Yep.
yikes.
yeah. Yeah, Vision Miner actually is really good on a lot of these fights, like timing wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's kind of two builds emerging. The other is if you wind up with for me, it's coming out with 2, but for most people with 3 PI, Vision Major
Yeah.
becomes a thing as well. And otherwise, for fights where world veining is not, where Vein Gang goes to sleep, Vision Major can be a thing as well. And then there's a strong argument for Blood of the Blood of the Enemy on a lot of fights, but
Yeah.
sometimes that strong argument is Moped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Vision Majors is actually really good on all of those fights where World Vein, like you can't necessarily sit and just tunnel, right? For your, or you might move. So like Soccer Boss, right? Because you're constantly moving in a circle and you might get the soul, whatever it's called, on you. And so Vision Major is pretty good on that fight. Um,
I really like Vision Major. I'm jumping ahead, but Vision Major on Ratheon,
yeah,
where
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you just get to gang fuck those ads so much because the
yeah,
sooner they're gone, the sooner some fucking
yeah.
warlock stops dragging the fucking dread flame over the. Oh, in the first week when it would interrupt font, and you'd watch the same dumb fuck warlock just stand on the fonting mages, pop a cooldown and not move it, and just drag it through them while they font. Like, that was real fucking fun.
Man. Okay, so Hive Mind. Big pad fight.
Yeah, this is a hard one because rapid reload is probably what you would think you want to use, and it probably is going to be the most damage if you use one. But the main issue with that is it's not on raid as right, so you have to get a piece from the vendor.
Yeah.
That works
And
well for me, who just keeps rolling gaping maw every fucking time I go
Man.
to that vendor. Yeah.
I also have Gaping Moth, which is unfortunate. I mean, it's good for that one fight, right? And Mythic Plus, and that's pretty much
But
it.
it's
But
not
yeah,
one
no,
enough.
it's yeah. Hive Mind is a weird one. Blood of the Enemy seems okay as well, but I think maybe just
I
reload
think,
and Vision Major and
I think,
just let
well,
it rip.
Blood of the Enemy, it doesn't line up exactly, but you can basically use it on like crucial darter packs. Like the first darter pack obviously melts, right? Because it's like on pull with lust and stuff. But then the second darter pack is sort of a nasty one, and then I think the fourth darter pack are
There's a
the
common mistake with datas and the way people prioritize and do damage on that fight. Like that fight is not about do damage to datas. It's about do damage to the right data, burst it down, do the next one. If you're off just fucking burning down a data in Africa, you're actually inting on your group
right.
because
Well, what?
it's going to wind up just healing that. Whereas if you can burn through the relevant one, move to the
Mm-hmm.
next one, your group will
Right.
just snap through them very, very quickly. You're not going to have to worry about that. The other thing, though, is just at the time there's a lot of damage taken, just interrupting via the entire pantheon of ways you can those psionic resonance casts.
Yeah.
But otherwise, burn down the relevant one, and that's where grips and stuff to bring it into the melee stack is really nice.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
yeah,
think
don't just run
the
off to Africa and be like, oh, it was priority damage on datas. It's priority damage on the right data at the right time. Be
right.
relevant with your damage.
I think the second and fourth set of darters, those are the ones you have to kill before the healing goes into effect. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think those are the one. I think you have like 10 seconds or something to kill them. And so we use Mass Grip on those two, and then I just save my Blood of the Enemy for those and just blow them up.
No, we
Um,
on our hive mind rekill, I didn't really even know what happened because we killed it so fast.
I mean, it's a pretty
I
easy
think
boss,
I
right?
think we
Like,
skipped a lot of shit. Like I think we skipped a lot of stuff on our rekill.
Yeah,
yeah,
you skip the healing going out. You skip a lot of shit just by damage pushes.
yeah,
That fight's just gonna turn into the quickest
yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, our
It's gonna
kill
be
was
pretty easy.
441 on our reclear.
Yeah,
Yeah, it also equates to a much higher uptime of cleaving on them. So, like
Yeah.
proportionally off the fight, there's less percentage of it where they're apart from one another.
right. Um. Oh, essentially, yeah. Binding shot's really good. For the darters on that fight. Um. Man, we had when we first started progging on that, we had an issue. People were like DRing all the darters, and we couldn't grip them, and people were like rooting the darters and stuff. And man, our DK was raging so hard because the mage frost nova'd the darter, and he couldn't grip it in and stuff. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
all that
that
went
fight
away
is.
for us when we just started gang fucking like the data
yeah,
one at a time, like
yeah.
bang,
I
bang,
mean,
bang. I mean,
yeah,
there was nothing to pick or dispel or grip. They just
yeah. I mean, it really depends on your strat, I guess, but not a super hard fight, and just sort of AOE rapid
That
reload's
being
pretty good.
said, from a wipe count perspective, that fight's harder than most of the instance.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just dodging the roly polies, right? And that's the
Yeah, I don't know
big.
if you've met our warlocks.
Yeah. That fight I don't think is very challenging. It was just sort of learn how everything lines up one time,
Yeah,
and then once you know when everything's happening, you can adjust your cooldowns accordingly and kill the boss.
yeah, for sure.
That's another great blame healer boss too. You can always blame healers if you die in that boss.
Unless you get hit by a roly poly, then it's your
Well,
fault.
yeah, of course, yeah.
All right, let's go soccer boss. Your favorite boss, Prox, I heard.
Yes, I was in group one, and I don't know why, I just fucking, and I'm the guy who like grabs it right off the bat, like the very first one. And I just started like, yeah, I'm standing in it. Why is it not going to me? I'm 100% in it. Goodbye, orb. Off you go to the boss. And then like I did that like twice in a row, and I entered so fucking hard. I was just on tilt. And like anytime anyone fucks up, we rip them to shreds. It's like a nice happy meme. But that made me int even harder, and I just completely got in my own fucking head. I mic'd up and had this big fucking rage. Like, I'm angry at myself. I understand I'll be making fun of myself too, but it's just making me play worse. And we're like, all right, Logok, you just fucking go in group 5. You don't care. And like, so I changed my details name to Green Logok. It's set that way for all of Prague. And I gang fucked the damage, so I'm like, I've got to do big damage. I'm playing for my fucking race ball because I can't
Wait,
kick a fucking
you
football
messed
apparently.
up. You fucked up, so they moved you out of the group and let you just DPS the. Man, I need to do that. I
Yeah.
wish I need to mess up. That's the
I
dream,
can't grab it.
And I
man.
was so fucking mad at myself. I was so fucking. I've never been as angry at myself as I was for that. Like, fucking hell, man.
Man, Dossou, you pro soccer player?
Yeah, I did it on heroic all the time, but I didn't kill that boss on mythic because I don't need loot. So
Oh,
it
true.
was
I
so
don't. I
early
guess we
on
don't
in the
really
raid,
have.
and we killed Shadhar first, and then we went to that boss, or maybe we killed Hive Mind before that as well. Even I think we killed Shadhar and Hive Mind before Zanesh.
I just like the
Yeah, I just
being in that boss to see when people loot the offhand, and you just remember all the like 5-letter word suck memes that were going on when people first understood Shadow Slam.
Yeah, that's
6-letter word.
6.
Were you in
well,
on the rekill, Dossou?
Nope. I didn't need loot, and people needed loot. So
Man, you dodged that boss.
I dodged the boss. I think I'm
Man,
gonna try and dodge Dressagath for the rest of time. If I can do it. I never want to kill that boss.
dude, that's what I did last year for Zakul. I literally didn't go in on Zakul. Like the first time I went in, I got the marksman shoulders, and I was just like, all right. I think I had like
Yeah.
2 kills on Zakul, and I had like like 18 kills on all the other bosses or something like that. I just volunteered to sit every time. That was the dream.
Yeah. I also would not want to go back to that boss with your track record on it, Moofz.
Man, what the heck?
Panther Crabs! Yeah, it's got effective damage.
I said Zakul, not freaking Zool. What the hell? That's not even the same boss.
Oh, I'm sure you found a way to fuck your viewers
Man,
over
just
on
because they
that one
start with
too.
Z, you have to relate it back to Zool. I don't know, it feels bad.
I'm old. Forgive my boomer brain.
Um, what were we on? Okay, Doggo, Shadar.
Just just pump the boss. Play
Yeah,
Roadbane and play Roadbane and just pump the boss.
yeah,
That's
pretty
all there
easy
is to it.
fight. The
Something that's quite important for that is stack right in near melee, and then when they complain, just fucking smile.
Yeah,
um,
I think me and FT had a nice stack going on for the Vayne
yeah,
gang with maybe a boomkin or two, but
yeah.
that
And
boss
I
fight was
think
also,
really straightforward.
when the blob fucking fixates on you,
feign death.
you can feign it, but you should not.
Yeah,
Definitely
Man,
don't have it like
our
right on the roof
we're
and then
about to
feign it
kill
just to
we're
retard.
about to kill the boss, and our other hunter, so it was like phase three, and he gets the blob, and he runs out, and then it's about to hit him, and he feign deaths, and it just instantly goes to the tank and blows us up at like 5%. We're like, dude, he's like, I had duck and cover, I was just trying to get a shield. Man, it was so
yeah,
bad.
that's another fight where all the damage is fairly predictable, so
Yeah,
you can duck and cover fairly reliably.
unless you're targeted by blob.
Yeah,
I will say that fight is very important to have your cloak ready because if you get slowed at the moment that the purple shit comes out and you don't have disengage for whatever reason, it can fuck you. But I mean that's just sort of I don't know situational. Usually it doesn't
hmm
happen, but
Not so this is probably one of the first times where you definitely do not want to go above fucking 40 corruption,
yeah,
because or above 39 rather, because grand delusions at the wrong time there and
man,
not being able to
yeah,
play it, you're gonna have a bad time.
yeah. You do have plenty of room to like freezing trap it and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean it can just royally screw you if it's bad timing and you get hit by it.
My
I don't think I
suggestion
went
is
over
don't.
40 one time on any boss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
All
just no
raid, I
need.
was always 30, 39 or less.
Yeah, I think for a couple of the
It's just
bosses, especially the earlier ones, it's totally fine. I still
yeah,
wouldn't
I
go
mean,
above 59 ever, but
no, it's very easy to go above 40, but on some bosses, but I just didn't bother because we obviously didn't need the damage for any
right.
reason.
Yeah,
Our damage was just
Yeah,
crazy with
if your group doesn't need the damage, then essentially you're not helping by doing it.
hmm
But if you dying could cost the group the attempt, then you're actually just introducing additional risk for no trade. Like the cost benefit
right.
is not there.
Yeah,
It's,
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever worth doing. I mean, maybe on farm if you're fucking around and you want to play with it on mod or something or Ratheon,
Yeah.
then probably get away with it. But for a hard
actually,
boss like Carapace or N'Zoth, I never ever.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, your favorite boss, Dossou, Drestigath. Tentacle
Breath
Boy.
Breath Major potentially. If you ran
I
through it.
actually ran Breath Major this past week and it actually pumped. I did like 12% of my overall damage. It was actually
Yeah, I
mega
think
good.
it's quite good.
The
Um,
blood
Used
of
it
the
on
enemy is very good there as well. If
yeah,
there's a particular
yeah,
tentacle that you want to gang fuck, like you can actually assign less people to that one, and you'll just about solo it. Like with the debuff, with blood, with everything rolling, you will delete it very
yeah,
very quickly, and the rest of the group can do something else, and you actually get a whole tentacle ahead just because you took that major.
yeah.
It's very very good for that, but it requires a little bit of coordination about what your group can and
Right.
can't do.
Yeah, breath is really good. Just one, it gives you another ability if you're assigned to do the smoke, the big boy tentacles. Obviously, it takes a while for your pet to actually get into you because you have to pet follow and stuff like that. So it gives you something else to cast while you're in there. Also, if you're able to snipe the tentacles, you get so many resets. I think me and the two demon hunters were the only ones running it, and so they were obviously off doing the melee tentacles most of the time, and so I was just sniping all the ranged ones and I just had so many resets on that. It was actually big damage.
One
Um,
thing, if you are on smoke duty, um, it's the most minor fucking thing, and hopefully everyone's doing it already. But don't have your pet speed dash on autocast. Have it on something
yeah,
that's bound. So each time you're sending it in, you are getting that speed boost. Like
yeah.
that's just a basic you should be doing anyway. But yeah,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, have the dash macro and just use dash every time you want to go to the smoke thing, right? And so,
yeah,
um,
yeah. Don't be fucking smooth brain and sit there relying on autocast for that.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, Other than that, just use kill command, barb shot, and even intimidation to move your pet right across the room
Yeah,
from
Intim's a good
tentacle to
way
tentacle.
of pulling them around. Um, if you're on smoke duty, you need a spirit beast for the healing for that, so it doesn't
Yeah,
apply here. But if you're ever using a cunning pet, using Master's Call as a way, because your pet will fucking zoom from across the
right.
room to you, that's a nice way of getting them to you instantly as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think for prog probably stick to spirit beast, but I think for like farm and stuff, I'm definitely gonna go uh cunning. There's a lot of fights that you can actually use cunning pets this tier for that speed boost.
Yeah, I use Spear Beast for everything. I think just as like a familiarity thing. So if I only have one kill or 0 kills on a boss, then I just played Spirit Beast, and
Oh yeah,
I tried Tilted a bit on Carapace, just off Prox's recommendation for Master's Call, but it ended up not even really being that useful because you could just kill command the assist on the ground and
Yeah, the one thing that was really good that I didn't have for our fucking first kill is your AC pet, making that a flying pet. Just fucking flies over everything, doesn't get stuck on
yeah.
anything.
oh
Now,
wow.
first kill, my AC pet just got fucking stuck on everything, and then I didn't notice we didn't have any in the last room. So I did the whole last room with 1 out of 2 pets. I still did okay
Man,
at them, but it was like, oh, fucking
Yeah,
God. Whereas, like, even when you do Shara back in Eternal Palace, if that AC pet is a flying pet, he fucking flies off up the top of
yeah,
the bubble and just starts like eating her face off while she's zooming around the outside. Like he
yeah,
can just go anywhere. It doesn't. Your main pet's still fucking grounded like an idiot, but that one like
yeah,
fucking drinks its Red Bull, gets its wings, and off he fucks.
yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. All right. We talked about Soccer Boss. All right, Rodin. Rodin was actually a pretty fun fight, I think.
Ratheon is my favorite fight.
Yeah, Rodden
Yeah,
was one of my favorites. Hunter was a bit weird. It was good. The timing just ended up being a little weird, I think, without Skitterbow. I think with Skitterbow, it'd be a little bit better. You'd always
yeah,
have Beast of Wrath for that second orb, your third one.
Yeah,
yeah,
But without it,
Skitrabow and Visions.
yeah,
Not only do you have Bestial Wrath for that second one, you have
you have
Aspect.
aspect for every
Like
orb if you run that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's
Like
super
you
pretty
good.
just
close.
fucking
Yeah.
delete it. Really, really good for that.
Yeah,
We kind of used the stupid Warlock pre-pulling in the first week, but it actually wasn't necessary at all, especially because our Warlocks were
no,
just fucking boosted and couldn't even do it properly. But the for the second week onwards, you got so much of a damage increase that it wasn't relevant.
yeah,
From
Yeah, I think that
so
boss second week was probably the biggest difference, maybe other than Dressagath and kill time. I think
100%.
our
yeah,
first week, I have to look at logs, but I think our first week was like uh 5 minutes 40 seconds
Yeah,
or something.
and then the other piece that
Five forty
helped.
six, and then the reclear was 4:21, so over a minute off
yeah,
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
rekill.
other piece that helped a lot with that was people later in that week getting lethal strikes rank
yeah.
3
That
because of
was
course
I made
every
that
time
fight a
that
Yeah,
joke.
procs at that
Yeah,
outside, it heals you as well.
yeah,
yeah,
and it was nice because we were able to skip an ad. I think everyone's doing 3 ads now on that fight. Maybe some
Yeah,
people are still doing 4,
I
but
think
yeah,
so. I
three
think most
ads
people
my
are doing three.
is
Yeah.
a lot easier than 4.
my favorite thing that I saw happen in prog in that fight though was a demon hunter having his ink pod crit
Yep,
and just
that
one
happened to
hitting
us
him
too.
with leech.
Man.
That happened to Shaq on one of our pulls. He killed himself with leech. Our first kill, I died very early in phase 3, just because it's kind of a nightmare to be a hunter in that phase, especially if you're not there very much. Hunters are always the first to die when healing's shaky, so it
Yeah.
gives sort of a bad impression.
Yeah.
I got we juggled the beacon to me on when we got to that phase, and that just took that away. It took all the pain away, and then he just had to take beacon off if I ever got the debuff. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if
that
our
was
healers,
a
our
nice fix
paladins
on
like
it.
me that much, but maybe I can ask for that.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
not.
if I had to ever spend some time with Lava Banger, I'd not be giving you a fucking like
Yeah, lava banger pumps. I don't know what you're talking about.
fuck Lava
That
Banger.
character is beyond retired. I killed a Shara on that character, and I didn't log on it until we had to do our lockout raid.
Can you
And
record like actually just hard deleting it? Like just go to the
yeah,
delete.
might as
Stand
well.
by.
Within this age of personal loot, I might as well just delete it because we're never gonna have enough characters to do 2 male splits.
Yeah.
So it's almost completely pointless for me to have a character like that. when I
Yeah.
play Hunter, right? It's just
I hate most
I don't know.
modern shit.
Maybe Ellie Shaman's super OP
I would
next
love to
year.
play Ellie as an alt, like as one of my main characters. I want to play Hunter and Ellie, but it's just not feasible the way
Yeah.
the game
Yeah,
works.
the biggest problem with playing Ellie as an alt is it's incredibly unfun and shit, and anyone who likes it actually is brain deficient.
Um, Same. Okay. Uh, Il'gynoth. We sorry butchered the fight or talked about how boring it is, but I mean, really, that's also. I mean, you want Spirit Beast, right? Because that's very healing intensive fight. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty much just a single target boss for hunters for the most part. You
Yeah,
can help with
which
bloods.
which side of the room you're based on changes the fight quite a
Yeah,
lot for you. If you're on the side that gets the organ last, then you are almost never going to have bloods that you can target, and
yeah,
so you are literally just fucking whacking the boss and uh, watching Witcher on Netflix for the fifth time. Um, but if you're on the side that has bloods all around you, then you're probably switching targets a lot, getting a lot of intin stuns, getting a lot of binding shots, blah 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 blah
yeah.
blah. One thing or I guess not one thing, a couple of things that are hunter specific that can help. If you are on that far side, what you really want is for a blood to fixate you, let it stay fixated on you until it comes all the way across. As it starts to leave, being underneath the boss, then you feign it, so it flicks back to somebody else and spends another time tripping back to the
Right.
boss. Don't just feign them off right away. If you get one from the organ that's behind you or to your left and it's not going to go anywhere near the boss, then those are good ones to feign early to try and get it onto somebody that's
Across the other side.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The charge cast that the irrelevant blood boy does, you can feign that. Can be a
yeah,
little bit finicky. I treat it like the Queen's Court feign, just stay feigned for a little bit longer and try and make sure
yeah.
that it happens. But you just deleting those charges from happening is incredibly
Helps
nice as
melee
well.
uptime. Yeah,
Yeah, it helps uptime on it. It reduces damage taken because, of course, if there's a spike on one person, they die. The whole group dies with the no dispel strat. So it's just a really nice value thing
yeah,
that you can do. And then the other is um, if you have the beam on you, like at the end, space is a premium. So even though you could just kite it around in a tight circle, literally just turtle and wait it out, and it will take a single dot. Turtle lasts for
yeah,
the same duration as that. So as long as you like just wait a second when you see that the purple swirly, pop turtle, don't fucking move, and you will literally do one.
yeah.
What you can do is you can do one and then stand right next to it to do the other, and then you've got your balls, and on your third one, just draw a big fucking line to draw a big ion hog in the raid, and then
Oh
that's
yeah.
the way
We
you
actually
can
have a
entertain
picture of
yourself
that.
as well.
Yeah, we did that on our kill. It was very wonderful.
Because the fight's that boring that you need stuff like that to entertain yourself.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of the no dispel strat, but I people don't want to do it here for some reason. Not sure
It's
why.
I don't remember who said it on Twitter. I think maybe it was Preheat that said it. But it's very if you learn the dispel strat and you can do it, it's a lot more repeatable than the no dispel strat because obviously the no dispel strat is very easy to mess up. But if
Hmm.
you go the other way, you learn the no dispel strat, it's very hard to learn the dispel strat, right? It's very easy to go from
Actually,
one way
I
to the
changed
other.
my answer. Il'gynoth is my favorite boss because it gave us imperative streaming on Il'gynoth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That
I love watching Gromnak, dude. Gromnak is former limit raider. Gromnak is a joy to watch on Twitch. I told him months ago that his stream would be huge, and I was right. He's a very entertaining guy. You know, he plays it up a little bit for the stream, but he really is like that. That's just Gromnak all day. He's always mad,
Man.
but no, it's nice seeing. It's nice having that to watch. It's entertaining for everybody.
Yeah.
I feel like the imperative roster and Trump voters is a circle as far as Venn diagrams are concerned. Like it's just
Man. All right. Moving on. Vexiona.
Well, I think everyone does everything a little different on this boss because we
bad, bad,
used,
bad, bad, bad.
yeah, everyone wants to pad really hard. I think I just played like single target talents, except I used a rapid reload piece because I didn't have
Yeah.
the 480 shoulders I have now. So I just used rapid reload shoulders, and
Yeah,
and that
no,
was
that's
okay. I could wild on almost every set of ads. I think I did it on the pull. I did it on the second set and third set, or
Yeah, again,
four,
if you're
six, seven, or something.
Skitterabo as well
Yeah,
as
it'd be
Rapid
much.
Reload,
yeah.
you're holding for the not for very long, but it's always up before the ad spawn. It's
Yep.
pretty nutty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then the rekill, I just played full single target, didn't even hit the ads at all, and just pumped the boss, and that seemed okay as well.
yeah, I think
Because we just use the tank ad to kill the ads.
yeah,
So we need very little damage on them. It just stops for the guys when they spin, and that's about it.
right. Yeah, so
The tank
what
just kills them.
what we ended up doing, I did exactly just full single target, kill Cobra with a rapid reload piece, and I just basically Bestial Wrath, Aspect of the Wild, I just pumped into the boss, and I just used the ads to get some reduction, right, from the rapid reload.
Yeah, I
But
think that's
I
reasonable
never,
if you're tanking them on top of the boss.
yeah,
If they're off to the side and you have to lose boss damage to do it, I think you probably just go
right,
maybe
yeah,
full single target and don't even hit the ads. It all depends on
the
what
spawns,
percent health the boss comes down in the last phase as well.
yeah,
So if your boss is coming down from the second swoop at 50% and you have to do two sets of ads before you get the last phase, then you should reconsider and go full boss damage. But if the boss is like almost pushing before you hit the last phase, then I think it's okay to maybe
yeah. So we were
rapid
on our
reload.
kill. I think the boss came down at like 48, 49% or something like that. It was
Mm-hmm.
low enough to where like we got one set of ads, but we basically stopped on the boss because we wanted to kill the ads before we phased. And so I blew Aspect of the Wild with Vision Minor and got some reduction with Rapid Reload, and I was able to get another set of cooldowns in I don't know, like sub 20%, something like that, whatever the time was. But
Yeah, you get the lust at 40, and then once again at the end of the fight,
yeah,
I think. Yeah, that seems reasonable. But yeah,
One thing you can do on that fight to help people out, obviously, two people get the purple debuff that they have to drop off for a puddle at the same time. They go out of the group, you take quite far away, and the guy that grips people back in always grips like the furthest away people. And that can be really fucking messy when he grips one of those people right as the circle's about to go off and you have one in the middle of the room. You can actually run out further than them the opposite direction and you'll get gripped instead of them. Your placements will always be fine. And because you're a hunter, you don't lose any uptime on the boss. So
yeah.
if that's an issue for your group, that's something easy that you can do to help make the fight so much smoother for anyone else.
yep.
Yeah. We ended up just like that one set of ads because it's only certain ads where it overlaps, right? Not every ad overlaps. And so those ads we just tanked like basically right next to where they're dropping the puddles off. And so like when they got gripped, like they were already going to drop it pretty close to there anyways. And so it wasn't like that big of a deal. Um,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah, I mean,
you
obviously.
definitely don't need full AOE in that fight. You definitely just want to go mostly single target, and then depending on how your strat and how
Yeah.
your damage looks, you can use one rapid reload. I think.
Yeah, I think that is one of those fights where looking at logs may not be the best because you're gonna have the padding Mongos up top that have rapid reload and are padding on all the ads and stuff, and so uh, this is definitely a single target fight.
I think Emless and Azor have had some quality conversations that people can go back and look at around priority target damage and then watching behaviors change the next week to prove certain things. I don't know. It's interesting. That's all I'm saying about that.
All right. Question in chat: are you even multi-shotting during Bestial Wrath and stuff like that? Personally, I don't like if I have cooldowns and the ads are under the boss, I don't spam multi-shot. I'll like maintain Beast Cleave, and so I'm still getting some reduction. But like if I don't have Bestial Wrath or anything running, then I'm spamming multi-shot,
Yeah,
assuming there's ads up.
it depends on when you want your world to come up to. So you can reduce the amount of multi-shotting you're doing based on when you need your cooldown next.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I'll be honest. For us, like the boss damage is an easy push, and our entire raid's roster brains switch off of like, oh my god, there's all these ads. Oh, think about the day. So I just fucking destroy them as quickly as possible so that they can get back to there's one target. Let's just whack that, and that works out well for us. I think we even like we watched Fat Shark's video where they're just like, don't worry about the beam or anything else. Just yank these guys under the boss, fucking blow them up, get back to doing it. And we basically did that.
You know that's going to be the pad strat on farm. in a week or two, right? Everyone just start
But
ignore
that
the
being
beam and
said,
pad.
yeah, I
Yeah.
do that, but I run all single target talons and everything else, and the priority,
Yep.
the boss kill.
All right, fun bosses. Carapace. Carapace.
I used rapid reload the first week on that boss, but I don't think it's worth now. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
and it's
you really
only worth
want.
if you can convince your demon hunters to not eye beam the ads in the last phase, and your mages to not living bomb.
Man, Mage's living bomb destroys my computer.
Yeah, but the first kill was extremely good to run rapid reload because we just cleave the ads down. If they're on the tank or the statue, whatever they're on, they're not doing too much. Our tanks were able to handle it just fine, so we left them up as long as possible to get rapid reload off. I mean, they still died in like 10 seconds because just passive cleave from
Yeah.
ignite and that sort of thing will kill them. But no, it was nice to have wild pretty much right after they spawned, and you pop it when they spawn, and right after they spawn, you have it up again for boss damage. And
Yeah, you get.
having the turtle reduction as well was extremely
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, defensively, and then I think you get what two additional aspect of the wild or something, or three,
Yeah, it's a
something
couple.
like that.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure exactly, but you do have it up quite a bit with rapid reload if you can convince people not to pad. But
right.
it's probably not worth now because people are just going to kill ads instantly and you're going to be stunned for
Yeah,
2 seconds. So
and
I
you're
wouldn't use it now. I would just go full single target on that
yeah
boss more or less.
you're gonna go down to 0 FPS when you get those living bombs out, anyways, right? So.
Yep. Love mages.
Man, our GM said don't run living bomb on our heroic kill. All the mages ran living bomb.
Yep.
So many people died because the FPS just got hit by tentacles.
Celebrate
Uh,
at home in your guild, Moofz. Like mine's. Yeah. A unique assortment of people who would want to pad on Krogs all pulled into the same raid.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
good.
Exactly, exactly. All right, N'alotha, the last boss. So I guess Dossou, you're the only one out of us that have killed it. So any
There's a
tips
lot
or
of different
anything?
options.
Free.
There's a lot of stuff you can do in that boss. You can. The only thing I would not recommend is running World Vein. So I think your
Yeah,
two options for Major Essence are probably Blood of the Enemy and Vision.
yeah,
I think
Yeah,
Vision
I'm going
Minor
the vision
is.
route at the moment. And that's interesting.
That's what I use as well.
yeah,
Vision. Me and FT both used Vision on the kill. I think Roger used
He
Blood
is
of the Enemy.
blood.
blood
Yeah.
enemy.
You were
Yeah,
running Blood for a long time.
So I would probably run blood rather than vision if my job was to put out a lot of damage on Psychus. But I
yeah,
don't even cool down for Psychus. I cool down for the synapses down there, and
Yep.
like I do like 4 to 5 million to the synapses. That like
yeah,
just makes that go so quick, and everyone else fucking gang fucks the ever loving shit out of Psychus. And I by the time we've killed the last synapse and I switch to it, maybe I'll get 10 mil. There's only about 7 on them, like, which is nothing because you've got people getting like 20, 25
Yep.
plus.
yeah,
That's kind of what we did. Is both of us just FT was in the first group, I was in the second group, and we were just synapse killers.
Exactly, yeah. And so it looks shit for your overall, but who gives a fuck? Like, that's such a good job for us to be destroying those exposed synapses. Like,
Yeah, and
we're
as
custom
crazy
designed for it.
as it sounds, Vision Major over Blood of the Enemy is more consistent. I don't know if that makes sense because obviously Vision procs are not going to be consistent, but you're getting a lot of damage in phase two. That's
Yeah.
going to be sort of more linear. You're not going to be having huge sections of burst, and you're going to be sort of high all the time rather than having
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
your damage profile, you don't want a lot of peaks and troughs. Like blood
exactly.
is high peaks. It just
yeah,
exaggerates your peaks, and then a minute and a half later is another one. Whereas visions is lower peaks, but a higher overall. Well, not necessarily higher overall, but their troughs aren't as frequent. So
right.
really good if there's just a constant need for some damage as opposed to whatever gang fuck, whatever gang fuck.
Yeah.
Without Skitcherbow and N'alotha, the timing is a little weird. You do have to hold wild a few times if you're playing Vision, but
Yeah.
I think with Skitcherbow you're gonna
It
be
lines
just
up.
letting it rip on cooldown and you'll be just fine.
Just what I found helped a lot is what actually killing Skitra. Also, that's a good way to get it.
Yeah, I'll
And
try
then
that
the
next
other
week.
one is to, yeah, just want it. And then all you do is I want the bow, and then you right click on the dead boss, and the bow's there. Like that's actually worked for every single boss on my first kill off them in this tier. That's worked. I've gone, I want this bit of loot, and then I've right clicked the dead boss, and that bit of loot's been there.
Yeah,
So
that
I'm
worked for me in
actually
heroic
done.
actually quite well. Our first Ny'alotha kill, I got a socketed ring in Azorite, and the second kill, I coined a bow. So
Oof.
Yeah,
heroic
there you
splits
go.
went very well for me. I got a good corruption from my first Mythic Plus
I'm
box.
busy.
I got a
They were
TQ
being
Tendy
annoying.
belt with good stats, and Mythic was okay,
I
but
don't know.
I mean, obviously not great.
Not
I
that
think
much
I
longer.
was like 474 on our N'alotha kill, which was one of the
Okay,
highest.
hold on.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I had okay luck this raid, but yeah, everyone already had insane gear as well. Everyone in the guild had best in slot corruptions. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
all it cost you was a $250 million gold.
yeah, we'll be working for a couple months to. Max had to sell his car again, unfortunately. So he's walking everywhere now, and I had
Man.
to take out a couple loans and
How much do you owe? 8 million?
yeah, everyone in all 31 people owe 8.3 million gold total. So we'll be
Man.
paying that off
Which
through
adds up
Galliwix and
to
heroic
one
boosts and
quarter billion.
yeah,
So
one quarter billion gold.
what would happen? All right, I'm not saying anyone would do this, but like, all right, you finish the tier and you just get someone who's like, all right, I'm done, I'm quitting the game, right? So does everyone else just pay more to make up their share?
No, they're responsible for that gold. They're either paying us in WoW tokens or they're paying the gold if they quit.
Ooh.
So all the MDI guys are going to be the first people to try and get paid off. They're going to be in every single heroic boost until they're done because MDI is coming up and
Right. They're not gonna be able to.
yeah, Lighty
Yeah.
and Noah and
Yeah,
we got a
and
few more people
MDI
joining
being
soon.
on is
So.
going to be really, really good for the 3 people in the world that still watch that absolute dumb
Well, it's on
It's on
YouTube, I think
YouTube,
now, which
yeah.
is a bit of a. I think that's a tragic
Okay.
mistake, but I guess
Well, I
Blizzard's
mean,
making
someone
money,
might
so
accidentally click it and they could go up to 4 views. That would be good. Like 4 views. That's more than. It's just so bad. Why did they kill it? It went from being so good to so bad, and I'm so mad.
Yeah. Man. All right. So we talked about, so we're going over time a little. Talked about all the bosses. Just real quick, I'm gonna open it up to Q&A, and so if there's any questions in the chat, go ahead and ask them. And while they are typing that, Dosu, what are some of the things that you want to see for Hunter and Shadowlands? Obviously, they're bringing Killshot back, but what are some of the things like either the system or just Hunter in general? What are some things you'd like to see?
I don't really have any hopes and dreams for Hunter in Shadowlands. I'm going to be playing it regardless, so I just hope that it's not boring to play and it's actually engaging and fun. I quite like the current
Hey,
iteration of
Watson.
BM. Obviously, there's some issues with it, and but I think that I just hope that it's engaging and rewarding for people who are putting in a little extra effort to the character. And
I'd like to see Focus Fire or something like that come back. That was really good. I enjoyed that interaction probably more so than the frenzy stacks shit that we had.
I think I think WoD had some of the best iterations of Hunter. I think
yeah,
in Highmaul
HFC
survival,
HFC
yeah,
Marksman was probably the best the spec has ever been.
yeah. BRF
And
had
so
obviously BM, right? Focus fire,
yeah,
stuff like
I,
that.
re- I really enjoyed both, survival and mop, and then the reiteration of survival in early
Highmaul,
WOD as well
yeah.
and Heimel was great. That fucking relationship with multi-strike where one damage could cause 11 further recursive events of those procs as they were just it was great. Like you did
Yeah,
so much fucking AoE and it was like
yeah,
a fun to watch happen, but whatever.
yeah. I mean, I think they deleted multi-strike because it's essentially crit to an
it's just
extent, right?
it's just
I
crit
mean,
basically.
because a
Um,
multi-strike is essentially critting,
yeah,
right?
it was what it was. I think essentially what actually happened is some dev went, oh, that's my baby, but I need to do something, so here's this other thing, and he inserted his stupid fucking ego to give us something else irrelevant, and then it was a mistake, but they can never admit their mistakes. They double down on them, and so you get stuck with bullshit.
All right. Question in chat. How do you guys feel about Limit having open comms versus Method having closed comms? From a viewer standpoint, it was the make or break from me watching.
Well, Method have to have closed comms because every second word's a gamer word.
Well, that's what. Okay,
You
so
can't have 90,000 N-bombs drop in a single stream and keep Twitch online.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I heard that Method, they only had maybe 3 people who were against open comms, so they
yeah.
wanted to be unanimous. And there was a few people that weren't quite ready yet. So I mean, hopefully, I hope that Method has open comms too in the future. But yeah, ours will always be open.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do
We've
you?
conditioned people to not say racist stuff anymore.
Okay, I was gonna say, gonna say, do y'all have to watch what you're saying? Like, is the atmosphere any different? I mean, it seemed
No,
normal,
it's
but
it's the exact same. Everyone's literally the exact same as we are when comms are off. The only thing is Max does this thing where he goes, "Hey guys, I got some big news, but I can't talk about it on stream. I'll tell you guys off stream." Wait, I can't actually tell you off stream because I'm not supposed to tell anybody. But I just want to let you know that I know something that nobody else does. But no, other than Max,
Absolute penis way to put it.
other than Max doing that, no, it's the same. It's the exact same for us. Off stream and on stream.
Yeah. I know, so like obviously the environment is a little different with the comms on and off, but I think it's also partly a business decision. Because obviously like if you look at the streams, right? Method versus the complexity stream, like a lot of people want to see the comms. Or want to hear the comms, and so a lot of people for complexity, for example, went to Max's stream over the complexity stream, right? Whereas Method didn't have that option, so everyone had to go to the Method stream, or most people went to the Method stream. Um, so I don't know, what's your opinion on, from a business perspective,
Drunk as the
the comms?
Logog stream for the sick tracks.
No, I think the complexity stream was great. I think Tettles and Dratnos, even though he eats people, I think their casting was really good. I think Jet is amazing. I think Jet's like one of the funniest people I've ever met. I love him casting.
Yeah.
Dratnos seems like he fucking rolls a dice to determine where he should put an upwards inflection in his speech. It's like he's talking for the first time and he's looking for body language and response to determine, am I saying the right thing in the right way? And he's getting nothing of return, so he's just like stunned and confused the whole way. It's the most horrific attempt at human speech I've ever seen. And I'm like, oh my god, like some of the stuff he's saying is good and is relevant, but he looks like a really unconvincing attempt to emulate humanity.
Yeah, no, I think yeah, the comms is a big reason why Max had more viewers than the complexity stream, but I think the complexity stream was amazing, good production value.
Oh no, I agree. Yeah,
the casters are really good, and yeah, I was very happy with it. It was good.
yeah, I agree.
Next time to the complexity event, do you get to put in like a demand that the Counter-Strike boys sign your tits?
I wish they would, but they were having a great couple days after.
Dude, yeah, but they fucking murked Astralis.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Fucking
Man.
Danes, yeah, fuck off.
No, but the nice thing about complexity is they all seem to be so into it. Like Daddy Jason Lake bought THD a milkshake.
I saw that.
He was cheering along with the guys in the gaming lounge, I think, and he was so into it. He loved it, and that's really encouraging for us to see that.
Just got this image of him like in the hotel room holding the fucking, like lying there on the bed holding the milkshake, and that's all he's wearing. He's like, THD, you know what you got to do for this
milkshake. Come. Man, well, who was it that said? I think maybe it was Max that said they spent like so much on THG's milkshakes last year for because they got him like a
London.
daily milkshake or something like that.
Yeah, no, it was bad. He only had milkshakes in London. It was not very good for his health. But,
man.
I mean, yeah, no, the event was great. I wasn't there, but everyone loved it. Everyone had a great time.
Yeah.
So
Do you have some FOMO?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit of FOMO, but
I was saying before we started, one of my favorite things was right after you guys killed it. You just hear someone up, mic up in comms and be like, "Oh, I kind of wish I was there." It was just like the saddest fucking thing. It was like someone had stepped on a puppy. It was great. I
Man.
really enjoyed. Like there was a, I took a lot of enjoyment out of that brief moment of sorrow.
Yeah. All right, Dosu. Last question. This is from me. So, who had obviously a lot of the Limit guys were streaming, right? Who had the best nerd scream out of everyone when y'all
Sang, I think Sang. His
sang?
was great. He was on the main channel when we killed it, and he stood up out of his chair, threw his headset off, and was jumping up and down. It was the happiest.
I really enjoyed Robin's viewer screeching through the whole
Yeah,
thing. Like,
the
'cause
pit
that's what you
was
guys
good.
was. You're like calm and talking, and he's just like unapologetically European and just fucking. Oh, it's
He's
brilliant.
crazy, dude. He was
Yeah.
like, yeah, he was a good addition. He played us in
Yeah.
VOD, and he was a little bit more calm then because he was quite new to the guild. But no, now
Freed from the method
he's
prison
fucking
gangs.
unlocked. He's actually unlocked.
I love those fucking prison gang comment. I love it when you do it, bringing them back.
The pit. I know. Question, do you think Marks could be good? No.
Nope.
Yeah,
MM is
fuck.
complete trash. It's so
Yeah.
bad. I thought it would be
It
sick with Vision and Worldbane, but
no.
nope, it's
It
bad.
it
How did that go for you? Because you've always been like a Mark's one trick that is incapable of anything else and really relied on that crutch. Was it weird learning to walk again?
I don't know who started that rumor, but I'm very against it. I just didn't play BM because BM was like it
Too
just
hard for your
it
sweet brain.
he
was
didn't have the gear for it really. I felt like he didn't really have the gear for it until late in EP.
Look, I'm calling bullshit on that. You didn't put the effort in to get the gear from an early point of view, and you put yourself in that position.
Well, okay,
Um,
well
I hate to
I
be
bought
mean, but you
I
created those circumstances.
yeah maybe I actually bought two mythic pieces of Azorite at the beginning of EP on my hunter, and then ended up playing Shaman for Ashara, and I mean I bought like probably 150 to 200 pairs of benthic boots
For,
to get
man.
a
for
socket one on my hunter, and I didn't get them. I was doing
Yeah,
world
whereas
quests
the
and
Benthic
dailies.
boots weren't even equippable as BM
Yeah,
until way
exactly.
I'm
later,
wrapping up.
and so you weren't
Please leave me
reliant on
alone.
that. And the Blightborn
I'm
helm,
busy.
Soulsguard,
I'm
was
live right now.
so much better than the others that even Heroic was better than the Mythic ones. So that was like a really good safe gamble to just chuck shards into Heroic gambling until you got it, and that was going to be a huge increase no matter what, rather than like chance at the Mythic one. There was some really good, easy gearing, reliable options you could have done to, well,
Yeah.
not you, but anyone could have done for
Right.
gearing up BM for that. But now that you just get all the best Azorite from the raid for it, it's incredibly easy to,
Yeah, I'm
to put
actually
your BM puzzle
so
pieces
thankful
together.
for that.
Yeah, I lucked out this time. I didn't get Mott shoulders or Ratheon shoulders, but I did gamble the new Mechagun ones.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
nice.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, aside from that one rapid reload shoulder piece, it's you pretty much get everything from raid. Um,
And now that's all I get from the vendor, apparently. So, I love life.
Yeah. No, I mean I actually I like that the Mythic Plus and PvP box is guaranteed corrupted. I kind of wish all gear came corrupted.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
would
That's a
solve
whole nother
some price
discussion.
problems with
I,
BOEs as well. But
yeah, I understand why they don't do that purely from a, like, when you get a corrupted piece, you're like, oh yeah, it's corrupted. But then you're like, oh, it's corrupted. It's versatility. You don't take damage. Like,
no,
you should never feel bad when you get a piece of loot. So there's like some fixing. But
yeah, I
just
had
from
a
that, like
bad
an,
one this raid.
yeah, from that whole gambling dopamine hit, which essentially is what they try to build in and factor with loot, because that's what gets you to keep coming back. I can understand why they don't just make everything corrupted. Like, from a, that would be good for game balance and game design, but it wouldn't be good from a, we need you to have bad moments so that the good moments are better and create more dopamine, which makes you play even though you're fucking enslaved.
Yeah.
So yeah, from that perspective, it makes sense. I don't know what the answer is to address it, but surely
Yeah. All right, friends. I think that wraps up episode number 11 for the Two Shot Lodge podcast. Prox, Dosu, do y'all have any other closing remarks?
Buff Hunter.
Buff man,
Nerf DH.
nerf
Yeah.
Demon Hunter, nerf Warlock, nerf Fire Mage. Yeah, all make Hunter top.
Nah, I like the fun. I feel like those ones deserved it. Like, yeah, they're really fucking good, and they just have the entire game handed them a single player. But they went through some pain this expansion to get there, and I feel like they've earned this reprieve. It's not like fucking HFC where it's just like, here's 18 months of being an arcane mage, enjoy.
Man, I'm so glad that we deleted that legendary ring. But uh but yeah, so that is it, guys. Thank you for watching. This episode will be on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. So go check it out if you missed it or missed part of it. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.